Red, why do you have that Geodude in your team? It weakens it. A Geodude? Why would you go for a meme Pokemon again? I prefer to level up my starter. Geodude is weak. It has a weakness against everything. Why would you even want that in your team? Geodude, one of the first Pokemons that I've ever encountered. A small rock that most people wouldn't even consider a partner Pokemon. But I've always loved Geodude. A small rock was cute and goofy at the same time. In nearly all of my playthroughs I have or had it in my team. Why? One reason would be that his defense stats are really good in the early game, and also that his attack stats are pretty decent if you start off, but that is not the main reason. My main reason to pick Geodude in my early to mid teams is because I believe in him. Not only was Geodude the first shiny Pokemon that I ever saw, but he's also one of the OGs who made me the Pokemon geek that I am now. I refuse to give him up. You think that Geodude is pathetic or useless? I will change your viewpoint. I will attempt to beat a crazily hard version of Kanto and give myself only one rule, and that is that I'm only allowed to use Geodudes. But before we start our run, let me clear up some things first. First of all, we're playing PokeMMO instead of Pokemon Fire Red. And how is that? It's pretty simple. Geodude cannot learn Fly or Surf. That's why we need to substitute those HM moves with items. And those items are called ocarinas. No, they are not the ocarinas you know from The Legend of Zelda. Those ocarinas only work if I have obtained the required gym badge and the HM move itself. So there is no cheating around. Those items are only there for myself to beat the game, because Geodude can obviously not learn Surf or Fly. But this is not the only change we have in PokeMMO. There are also numerous changes which make our run extremely difficult. For example, our enemies now have a Generation 5 moveset, and they also have Generation 5 abilities. Not only do they have that, but also some of the gym trainers have new Pokemon and enhanced strategies. Let me give you a good example. The poison leader, Koga, is now using a Toxicorp and stat enhancing items. Isn't that crazy? And you thought that would be hard? No. We are also level capped all of the time, and no, I'm not going to evolve my Geodude into a Graveler, because that would make things way too easy, and this is a Geodude only run, alright? So, to start off our adventure, the first thing that we need to do is obtain our Geodude and the ocarinas. So, my first goal was Viridian City. Viridian City is the first city which has a Pokemon Center, and I need to get into this Pokemon Center to obtain the Geodude and the ocarinas through the PC. But when I obtained the Geodude, I realized that I made a terrible mistake. And that mistake was that I forgot to remove the attacks from the breeded Geodude. You may ask yourself now, Red, why did you breed the Geodude? The answer to that is pretty simple. Geodudes don't grow on trees, and I had to breed one beforehand for it to be level 1. But because I'm such an idiot, I forgot to remove some moves, like Stealth Rocks for example. But no worries guys, I'm only using Rollout until Geodude obtains the moves through his legitimate level. Which should be pretty soon, but there was one thing in my way. Geodude was level 1 and even a red attack could kill me. So what I had to do was I had to level up my Geodude the slow way. And the slow way means I had to kill some Pidgeys, and that's it for the time being. Alrighty, now that my Geodude is ready to kill at least level 3 Rattatas, I'm taking the parcel from Professor Oak and delivering it to him. And now I'm finally ready to go into the Viridian Forest. The Viridian Forest was pretty easy. Geodude is a rock type Pokemon, so I could spam Rollout and kill all of those Weedles. I also collected some items and went ahead to Pewter City. While I was on my way to Pewter City, I had a stupid realization. I can't even get any item from Professor Oak because I'm supposed to catch Pokemons, and instead of catching Pokemons, I'm only playing with a Geodude. I'm screwing over Mr. Oak's grand scheme of completing the Pokédex. I saw every Pokemon in this entire game but only catch the Geodude. Oof, now that I realized that I fucked over Professor Oak's grand scheme, I went ahead to fight Brock. The fight with Brock was pretty interesting, since he was using dragon type attacks against me, and he also paralyzed my Geodude. But with a little bit of faith in your Pokemon, miracles do happen. You know what? I believe in Geodude. Easy Geodude. I believed in him and then he dodged. I believe in my Pokemon, man. You fucking Ash Ketchum has his Pikachu. I have my Geodude. And he is the biggest OG stone around. Brock is finally defeated, and now I can head to route number 4, which was pretty easy. And I also had some realizations. I learned that Geodude could learn Incinerate, which is a fire attack, and I was thinking about making a special ATK Geodude. I know this is an entirely crazy idea, but I have no clue what's waiting in front of me, so it could be that I need to get a special ATK Geodude for like the Elite Four or for some future trainers. I had no idea, I was just contemplating. Now that we have arrived on Mount Moon, a viewer of mine gave me an interesting thought process, which led me to give Geodude his first name. I get what you would... Such a bad humor, man. So you're trying to tell me that Barack Obama's head looks like a fucking Geodude? Okay, no. Okay, this is going in a really wrong direction, man. Okay. Geodude actually is Barack Obama was Geodude all along, man. I mean, yes, with his hair. He really could be a Geodude, man. Barack Obama was Geodude all along, man. Okay. I will rename him now. I think in this entire one, I think I will rename this guy for like a million times. He will now be named Geodude. Oh my god, I think that could be such a huge face. Jibama, no, it's a Geodude. Now, with that being settled, I fought myself through the rest of Mount Moon. While I was doing that, I tried killing as many Zubats as possible in order to get some sweet speed EVs, which I will definitely require later on in the game, since Geodude is an extremely slow Pokemon, which has a very low base speed stat, so not leveling speed would be a neck breaker against enemies like Misty, for example. Now that we have finally arrived in Cerulean City, our next goal is to defeat Gary and to head north to cross the Nugget Bridge. The fight with Gary was very close, but we managed to defeat him, since we still have a type advantage over him. Route 24 was very useful to obtain some levels and some money. Everything was according to plan, until I made a small and nasty realization. Geodude is level capped at level 26. At that time I was unaware of the level cap, and I started worrying. Can Geodude really defeat Misty and clear everything now that his power is capped and the opponents are coming closer and closer to his level? Geodude is already struggling pretty bad against effective moves, and he's really slow. The question if I can face the water type arena will soon be answered. My first opponent was a water type trainer, which was expected to say the least. Geodude missed his first attack and got beat up pretty bad. It took 2 hits to wipe Geodude, and it seemed like I couldn't even beat the first gym trainer. After a second try, I was able to beat the first trainer, and then came the second trainer. The second trainer had a Goldeen, and again, Geodude was missing his attacks. And once again I was defeated, but after a second try I was able to beat this trainer. But this arena was far from finished. Now we had to face Misty, our strongest opponent so far. Misty's team consisted of a Starmie, a Goldeen and a Psyduck. Some of them knew Quick Attack, which rendered Geodude's sturdy ability absolutely useless. On top of that, her water attacks had a chance to confuse Geodude, which would also render sturdy absolutely useless. She had 3 Pokemon, and all of them were faster than me. As it stands, Geodude has absolutely 0 chance to beat this gym. He gets crushed by every single opponent he's facing. And even if Geodude would manage to get a hit against Starmie, he couldn't one-shot Starmie. So I guess this is the end. We absolutely stand 0 chance against Misty and her water team. Or do we? Because as it stands, there is no rule which forbids me to get a second Geodude. The only rule which is in place is that I'm only allowed to use a Geodude. And now it's time to get Geodude a worthy partner for his journey. And not only that, in order for me to defeat Misty, I have to train. I have to train very hard. I need Geodude to outspeed her Pokemon. And not only that, I need Geodude to crush her Pokemons with 1 single strike. In order to achieve this, I had to EV train. The bushes on the west side of Cerulean City provided me with speed and ATK stats, which was marvelous for my plan. But these Pokemons weren't enough. It would take ages to train there, so I head down to the next city, Vermilion City. A city which offers me a certain tunnel, called the Diglett Tunnel, in which I can effectively speed EV-train my Geodude for me in order to beat Misty's Sushi type Pokemons. And after several hours of speed EV training, I finally done it. my Geodude should be fast enough to outspeed Misty. So I head back to Cerulean City to fight Misty head on. Wait, hold on a minute. Did you really think I would try to beat Misty with a 29 speed Geodude? Of course I wouldn't. I obtained my second Geodude, trained them for several hours, and then I analyzed Misty's entire moveset and her strategy. All of my moves had to hit, and she must be stupid enough to follow my entire game plan through, so that I can finally win. So, the game plan was the following. I resetted Misty enough times so that she starts with her Starmie. Here comes Rocket Jabot into play, my second Geodude. I use his Sturdy to survive Starmie's attack and attack with Self-Destruct in order to weaken Starmie, so that Geodude can one-shot her, which he did, with a magnitude 7. Misty's next Pokemon had to be Psyduck, because Geodude is fast enough to outspeed him and strong enough to go in for an RKO, which worked surprisingly well. Now we face our last obstacle, a Goldeen. Misty's prone to use Quick Attack for her first turn, especially because Geodude is low HP. Goldeen's other attacks doesn't have enough strength to one-shot Geodude, so I used the potion with the knowledge that she will use Quick Attack on me now, which she did. Everything was going according to plan. Now, Geodude has to hit, otherwise everything will be for naught. And he punched the living shit out of Goldeen, and now we finally... I beat Misty with 2 Geodudes, which are level capped. I beat Misty with 2 Geodudes that are level capped on level 26. No way. A victory that was not easily achieved, but our journey is far from over. Will I be able to beat Kanto when even Misty was such a tough opponent? We will find out in the next video on my road to become the first rock-type Kanto champion. Also, follow me and Cake. I stream Monday, Wednesday and Friday UTC +1 German time.